So the only two people who I think went undrafted, and there's a bunch of people who weren't drafted, who weren't eligible or whatever, that weren't in the pools. For example, Ivar is injured right now. The Forgotten Sons are going to show up at some point, but we have not seen them on TV in probably 4 or 5 months. They weren't even eligible to be drafted, so I'm not exactly sure what's holding up their return, but I think one of them, T, is coming back a couple of months ago. We just haven't seen him yet, so if I had to take a guess, they'll probably go to SmackDown, but does it even really matter? Bo Dallas was not eligible. We have not seen him in close to a year, but who the hell cares? Big Show was not drafted. He was a part of Raw the last time we saw him, but again, he's not a regular on the show, so that makes sense why he wouldn't be drafted. Becky Lynch is pregnant right now. She won't be back for a while. Jimmy Uso, I would assume, is probably going to SmackDown with his brother, but they could also put him on Raw with his wife, so I guess we'll see what they do. But I think him and Naomi doing their own thing would be cool. Unless Naomi joins the Hurt Business, then that's probably not happening. Jinder Mahal is probably going back to Raw. He's been injured since May or June. He's been injured for a little while. He was only back for a couple of weeks before he got injured again. Had to go have another knee injury, another knee surgery rather, soon after his return earlier this year. So he'll probably wind up back on Raw. We'll get the Mahal-McIntyre feud that had been, speculated about at the time, which who cares. Kane was not eligible. We have not seen Kane on either show for a while now. Maurice has not been on either show for like a year or two. She got pregnant again. Mojo Rawley was not eligible, which is interesting. We have not seen him since June. Now, I guess he's hurt. He'll probably go to SmackDown because that's where he was pre-draft. But again, who cares? Mickie James was the only one who isn't hurt, and I guess she hurt her nose or something. She'll be back in a week or two. But she wasn't drafted, even though she was eligible. I think she should go to SmackDown. SmackDown's women's division needs more names. They have Bayley, they have Sasha, they have Bianca. They don't have a lot of people beyond them. They have the Riot Squad who are good, but they're more of a tag team than they are established singles competitors at this point. They have Billie Kay, Tamina. Again, who cares? So I think they need the help over there. Mickie James could be a great asset to that Blue Brands women's division. She could feud with Bayley. She could feud with Sasha. As a face or heel or whatever. Her and Bianca could be fun. But again, she'll very likely probably end up on Raw per PWInsider. And Andrade as well was not drafted, which there's got to be a reason for. Apparently he had a minor injury. He might be back in a month. But even still, he was eligible. Why the fuck wouldn't he be drafted over a Tamina or an Akira Tozawa or an Arturo Rujas or a Dabakito? You know what I'm saying? So there have been rumors that Andrade might actually end up in NXT again, which I think would be great. It might actually be the best thing for him. Now, without Zelina Vega, it's not the same, because he really got over in NXT because of Zelina Vega being his mouthpiece. Without that component to his act, the guy is doomed. Regardless of whether it's Raw, SmackDown, NXT UK, 205 Live, whatever, the guy's doomed. But I think he has a better chance of becoming a star. I mean, he already is a star, kind of, but finding more success there than he does on the main roster. Yeah, he's already a former NXT champion. Maybe he could win the North American title. I don't know. I mean, Balor was a former NXT champion and won it again, but I don't know. I just feel like with Balor, he's just a bigger star. Andrade doesn't have that same vibe about him. And I think breaking him up from Zelina was one of the dumbest things they could have done. So unless he goes to SmackDown, which he probably isn't because Charlotte's still on Raw, his soon-to-be wife, I think NXT would be the best possible place for him to go, where he can be utilized properly and not just be booked to look like a loser, which he's been now for quite some time.